You're now listening to All Hog Sports, covering all Arkansas Razorback sports, such as football, basketball, baseball, and much more. Now, here's your host for today's show, Sam Stimson.
In today's episode, I want to be talking something different than the football talk around here, as this is All Hog Sports. I'll be covering all Razorback programs. I'm going to be covering cross-country, golf, women's soccer, and women's volleyball on today's show. But if you like what you're hearing, make sure to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at All Hog Sports Pod. Make sure to follow my YouTube and Facebook at All Hog Sports and Arkansas Razorbacks Podcast. All links and all ways to listen are at allhogsports.com. And please share the podcast and also leave a 5-star review. Now, I know football is technically a fall sport, but I'm going to be releasing a mid-season grade episode tomorrow, so I'll save that talk for later. By kicking it off with the cross-country teams, won the SEC championship. This is not really that unexpected, as both teams were predicted to do so. However, this season, the men had 3 meets, and September 19th at the SEC Preview 6 kilometers. They placed first out of 4. And October 16th at the UAB Blazer Classic 8-kilometer race, they placed first of 9. And then Eamon Kemboy placed first overall at that race. And then to cap it off, October 30th at the SEC Championship 5-mile race, they placed first again. They won the race by 20 points, and they placed first out of 12 SEC teams. And they won spots 5 through 9. Spot 5 went to Eamon Kemboy. Spot 6 went to Luke Mead. Spot 7 went to Jacob McLeod. Spot 8 went to Emmanuel Chibosin. And Spot 9 went to Matt Young. This team was expected to win the SEC title, so it doesn't really shock me that they did. I would expect them to have a good team next year, as cross-country is just one of those programs that has really been good at Arkansas. However, this is the end of their season because there's no national championship due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which really sucks for these guys because I feel like they could make a run, as they were ranked number 3 in the nation according to the U.S. Track and Field Cross Country's Coaches Association. That was a mouthful there, but that's how they performed this year, and they did really good, placing first in every single meet, and I have no doubt that they would definitely make a name for themselves as a possible national championship winner if there would have been one. However, there isn't, which is kind of one of the more unfortunate things, because every single fall sport championship, except for the FBS, was canceled. And it's just really unfortunate that these athletes who have been performing really good all year aren't going to get a chance to go out there and play for the NCAA title. I think it could be interesting, though, if a team claims it or something. Not like the old football days, but like the voting. I don't know. I'll see how it plays out. I'll definitely report about it if there's any more, though. Now, the women's cross-country team was defending their national championship title, which they aren't able to do this year. However, they had a really good season at their 4 meets. They played really good, getting first on all, sweeping most of these races. September 18th at the SEC Preview 5K, they were first out of 5 teams. They swept spots 1 through 5, and most notably in first place was Taylor Ewert. October 3rd at the Gans Greek Classic 6-kilometer race, they were first out of 4, and they placed spots 2nd through 9th. And then October 16th at the UAB Blazer Classic 6-kilometer race, they placed first out of 10 teams. And then at the October 30th SEC Championship, they won their 8th consecutive title, first out of 13 teams, and most notably in 4th place was Lauren Gregory, 7 was Logan Morris, 9 was Abby Gray, and in 10th place was Taylor Ewert. And they are also the SEC title favorites before the season, so nothing really surprising from this squad. But like I was talking about earlier, there's no NCAA championship, and I have no doubt that this team would have defended that title. They were ranked number 1 in the nation, according to that U.S. Track and Field Cross Country's Coaches Association, and they literally swept every single meet, getting first place in all 4 of them. Cross country, though, was dominant for the Razorbacks this year, as cross country, track and field has always been a good point for the Razorbacks, and it continued this year, and it's kind of unfortunate that we don't get to see that play out in the NCAA championships. Women's soccer, though, is doing really, really good. They are currently 6-1 on the year, and according to the United Soccer Coaches Poll, they are number 7 in the whole entire nation. This would put the Arkansas Razorbacks as the leader in the SEC. The Aggies are behind at number 8, and the Gamecocks are behind at number 9. Out of their 6 wins, they have a really impressive win against Texas A&M, who was number 5 in the nation at the time, and they have a good win against number 15 Auburn. They also have wins over LSU, Kentucky, Alabama, and Ole Miss. However, their sole loss is to number 15 at the time, South Carolina. But Coach Colby Harrell is doing a fantastic job with this team. They won the SEC title last year, and they're looking to do that again against Mississippi State. I'll talk about that later. But this team's averaging 2.14 goals per game while allowing 1.0 goals per game. That's a really impressive number because their margin of scoring and allowing goals is far apart, so that's going to be a lot easier for them to win matchups. Anna Podigi was named to the top drawer team of the week last week after her performance against Auburn. So far in the season, she has 4 goals, 4 assists, and 12 points, and she's leading the Razorbacks in goals and points, doing a fantastic job, a really good leader on this team, and arguably the best player as well. Parker Goins, though, has 3 goals and 1 assist. 4 of the people on this team were named to the All-SEC team. That'd be Anna Podigi, Parker Goins, Taylor Maham, and Haley Von Fosine. They have 1 game left before the SEC tournament on November 11th, but that game is November 6th at Mississippi State, and if they win this game, they would clinch the 2nd straight SEC title, or they would get a share of the title as South Carolina and Arkansas would both get part of that. But I would expect Arkansas to win this game versus Mississippi State and move to 7-1. Mississippi State is not doing too hot this year. They are 2-2-3, and they only have 9 total points. And I think the main thing is the Razorbacks just have to close this season nice and move on to the SEC tournament. They're looking to break history in the SEC championship this year again, and they were chose to win it in preseason. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out. Because there is no NCAA championship, so this is almost the end of the season. If you basically win the SEC championship, you are basically winning your season because there's nothing else you can do. When you play in NCAA regionals, you play in NCAA championships, that's like the end goal. Well, the end goal now, because of COVID, is just the SEC championship. So for a lot of these teams, these games matter much more, and they should be very competitive. And I'm sure Coach Colby Hale will perform very well. Men's golf has played 2 events on the season. The first one was the Blessing College at Arkansas. This was a men's and women's tournament. Combined, though, this Razorback team finished 3rd out of all 14 SEC teams. Really good performance on day 3. They were originally 4 spots back, and they climbed to finish in the top 3, and they shot a low combined 289, which was the lowest on day 3 of this tournament. However, they won the best ball. Julian Marico and Brooke Matthews from the women's team finished a combined 22 under par, which allowed them to win the best ball. But there was a 4-way tie at 21 under, and Arkansas had a team there. Manuel Lozada and Ella Incona was that team, but overall this Razorback squad can finish at a tournament best 59 birdies. Segunda Leva Pinto finished top 7 for this Razorback team at 215 total strokes. That is his 7th top 10 finish all time. Now moving on, this men's team played at the Legends Collegiate at Vanderbilt. Julian Perico took the outright win, though, at this. That was his 2nd career win while he was on this Razorbacks team. This Razorbacks team finished tied for 6th place at this tournament at 21 under. Julian Perico had a really, really good putt on the 18th hole. He was going up against Alex Goff out of Kentucky, and on the final hole, he sunk a 20-foot putt to take the lead. Very impressive putt from him to take the lead and get his 2nd career win, but at this event, Pinto placed tied for 27th at 4 under, and Mason Overstreet placed tied for 37th at 1 under. But the final event for this Razorback team would be the Jerry Pate National Intercollegiate at Alabama on November 9th and 10th. See how they close their season within the next week. The women's golf team has also played in 2 events, and they have one left. Like I was talking about earlier, the Blessings Collegiate Invitational at Arkansas at the best ball, and Arkansas won that. Brooke Matthews representing the Razorbacks and Julian Parreco. But at this tournament, Brooke Matthews won at 10 under, and she had an impressive 5-stroke lead, which allowed her to basically seal it up as the next person was at 5 under. But tied for 11th was Corey Lopez. Now the next event was the Alley at Old Waverly at Mississippi State. Brooke Matthews finished second at this event. The team finished 9th, and at 38th was Ella Anacona. And it's interesting because Brooke Matthews has played really good in these first 2 events of the season, and it should be interesting to see how she plays at the Liz Murphy Fall Collegiate Classic at Georgia on November 6th through 8th. See how she finishes her season off, as she's been playing really good golf for the Razorbacks. Closing it off with the final sport here, women's volleyball. They have a really good start to the season. They've started off 4-0, and they swept Mississippi State and Ole Miss. And as always, it's never a bad day when you beat some Mississippi schools. They won versus Mississippi State twice in a 3-2 set, and they won against Ole Miss in a 3-0 set and a 3-1 set. Now, this volleyball team has a 0.243 attack percentage, while they hold opponents to a 0.2 attack percentage. That's definitely an advantage that they have over other SEC teams that they will play in the year. Jillian Glein is leading this team with 71 attacks. Definitely a player to watch out for in these games. She's going to try to score the majority of the points so that the Hogs can win the set and then overall win the match. Gracie Ryan, though, has 183 assists as she just kind of sets the ball up for an attack to happen from Glein or somebody else on the court. And that's a really good team player when you have somebody who is controlling the majority assists on your team, especially a high number like 183. Shows that the chemistry is there with these teams. However, they have 2 home game series left. As of recording this, they just lost to number 9 Missouri in a 3-2 set on November 4th. However, they play Missouri again on Thursday, November 5th at 6 p.m., and you can actually catch that game on SEC Network. And then they have Mississippi State at home November 13th through 14th, and that will be at Barnhill Arena. And that game will be on ESPNU for the 13th, and then on SEC Network Plus on the 14th. So if you want to catch these games on national television, you can, as most of the time it's kind of harder to do that, but this team's playing really good, and they only lost to 1 set to the number 9 team in the nation. So I think they definitely could make a run looking forward. That was an update for soccer, golf, volleyball, and cross country. Now tomorrow I will be having another episode coming out, going 4 for 4 on the later days of this week. It's going to be mid-season grades, and I'm going to bring a special guest onto the podcast for the first ever time. We're going to talk about how we're feeling about the Razorback season and kind of do a recap like I did for all the sports today. So stay tuned for that one. If you like what you're hearing, though, please leave a 5-star review, as it means a lot to me and the podcast. You can find all ways to listen and social medias at allhogsports.com. Whoopig!
That's all for today's episode of All Hog Sports with Sam Stimson. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode covering all Arkansas Razorback sports. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media too. On Twitter and Instagram at All Hog Sports Pod. Like on Facebook at All Hog Sports and Arkansas Razorbacks Podcast. And on YouTube at that same name. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Go Hogs!